So, what's going on, everybody? I'm here with Coach Garcia. I don't know why we don't use your name. We just say Coach Garcia and everything now. Who's been inside of the Fit Pro CEO for what about two and a half months? Are we at
We started about mid-September.
okay,
So yeah,
mid-September?
coming
So
up on 2.5, 3 months almost.
3 months. Okay. And what I'd love to do is just take an opportunity for him to share his story because, everybody in the online fitness space gets so fixated on making more money. But something you sent me the other day really, aligned with why I do what I do. And I think it's really important that obviously everybody wants to be successful and everybody wants to make money. But I think even more important is knowing why you're trying to make that money. So, what I'd love to do, Coach Garcia, Michael, is really just share your experience of where you were before you kind of came into the FitPro CEO community.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of and thank you for that. Just a little bit of brief background before I got into doing the online fitness. So I've been doing personal training for 10 years. It's been
Yep.
primarily a side hustle, but something I love and enjoy. It's part of my educational background. I've worked in sales in various industries in the medical industry, more recently in the aerospace industry. And I was sitting down one day at the beginning of 2023, and I had a come to Jesus moment, if you will, where I was sitting at my desk working 50 hours a week. Not saying it was a bad job, but
Yeah.
I sat there and I asked myself, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? And it was at
Yep.
that point a decision where, we're in a good place financially. I said, hey, I'm going to go into personal training because this is something that I want to do. I feel like I can help people, and this is my calling. So I kind of took the leap. I primarily did group training classes with an organization that's out here, and I also started doing personal training.
Yep.
So before I started with your program, I was doing that from about mid-January of 2023 until about August, doing pretty well. I mean, from that standpoint, I was making about 3.5, $4,000 a month, which is fine. It's okay,
Yep.
but I wanted more. And again, to your point, I wanted to be the first of all the leader that I needed to be for my family, and also the provider that I wanted to be for me
Yep.
personally. So when I came to you, obviously, once I started getting onto IG, we started seeing stuff about online fitness, yourself included. Other people started reaching out to me. Hey, coach, have you done this? Have you done this?
Yep.
And that's where my curiosity kind of peaked. And again, when I made the decision to sign up with you, it was because I wanted to get into that space. And the other reason why I chose you over several other coaches is because we connected. And
Thank
I
you.
think
Appreciate
that, yeah, and I appreciated the authenticity of what you're selling. Obviously, it's very, there's a lot of coaches in the space. It's
it.
it's it's saturated, but again, I had the connection with you, so I made the decision to say take a risk and to invest in myself and say, hey, I think there's opportunity here for me to expand, not only from a financial perspective, but from a perspective of getting the knowledge of how to run a business online. I know one thing you talk about advertising and stuff, and I wanted to know how to do that effectively, regardless if I stick with online personal training itself or I wanted to expand later down the road into something else. So I thought it was a good opportunity for me to take. And so
Awesome.
now,
Yeah, I mean, I guess for you, a lot of people I think struggle with kind of making that transition. Even for myself, I was a personal trainer for years and years and years before I made that transition online. Before you came to us, you were pretty much green to online coaching, correct? Like had never coached really anybody online. It was all face to face, right?
oh, absolutely, my feet were wet. Like I'm
Yeah.
barely getting wet jumping into a program. I was like a little puppy out there, especially when I joined your program. And I kind of alluded to that when I jumped in originally. I felt like kind of like the little fish in a big
Yeah,
pond
yeah.
over here. Like, what is going on? You see all these heavy hitters,
Yeah.
in your program making, 50K, 100K. And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, I just want to
You're
get
like, I
like,
just
I just want to sign a client. Like, I
yeah.
just, I just want to get started. So yeah, it could be overwhelming. For me, I just wanted to expand in there and kind of absorb everything. So definitely like the first 4 weeks, I was like, there was so much information that it was like, I didn't even know where to start
Yep.
you know. So
One thing I want to address too, though, is like, when you did finally start signing up clients, kind of walk me through what that was like, because obviously, you really don't have anything built yet. And I know a lot of trainers get so focused on, I need to have a website, an app, a this, a that, all these
mhm.
different things. I guess kind of walk me through, getting your first 5 to 10 clients and kind of what that was like.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So to your point, you have a program set up in school, and there's a lot of other coaches that advocate for different programs and having a full system. I was so adamant when I came in that like, oh, I have to have a program set up, like I have to have like all my, my videos set up, and I have to have like all these processes. And I was so worried about that I stopped getting away from the root of why I'm a coach, and instead of just working one on one with clients. So that was part of my first problem. The other problem that was a struggle with me, and why when I first started trying to run ads where I couldn't get clients, was because I was trying to be everybody else. I was
Yeah.
looking at the people in, obviously, in the pool. I was looking at other influencers, how they do stuff, and I was busy so much trying to focus on being them or try to do
Yeah.
things they're doing, that I got away with what made me authentic and me as a coach. And I found that by just jumping in and, to beat a dead horse, right? Make more offers, right? Like you could probably retire if every time I see that in a tax, but if you got a dollar
Yeah.
every time you said that,
I know, right?
um,
Make more offers.
make
Yep.
more offers. And the reality is that, if you make sincere offers based on yourself and what you believe in your program, first of all, you have to walk with conviction. If you don't believe in your program, no one's ever going to believe in your program. And
Yep.
I struggled mainly with embracing my identity. That was really why I struggled. So when I first started launching ads, I'd get DMs, but I didn't know how to like sell my program online. I didn't know how to connect. It was hard. A lot of times people would just disqualify themselves. I'd get ghosted a lot. The first 4 weeks were a big struggle for me.
Yep.
Uh, and it wasn't until I started just being kind of, I don't know what a good way to do it, not thirsty, if you will. Like when I was first, I was very thirsty. I don't know a good way to
I get
describe
it.
it.
No, I get it. It's a scarcity mindset. Scarcity. I did a video in the group a while back, but it's like scarcity kick. I don't have enough leads or business. Scarcity kicks in. You get on a call. I have to close this person. If this person doesn't close, you have a belief about your self-worth as a coach. Then you ask yourself, am I charging too much money, or if I'm a good coach? And then you discount your prices, and then you only attract worse clients, and then it's a vicious loop that never ends, right? And I see that all the time with people. And to your point that you made earlier is that, I could teach all the marketing, the ad strategy, everything from the lead generation side. If you forget how to have a conversation with somebody, then nothing matters. Everybody has this belief that there's a magic script of she says this, I say this, he says this, they pay me money, and it doesn't work like that. I think everybody, to your point earlier that the market is saturated, imagine being a client on the other side as somebody who's trying to improve their health and fitness. And there's so much information out there that they're actually overwhelmed with information. And you, as a coach, need to simplify it, but more importantly, connect with them based off who you are, your beliefs, your values, and everything else.
Mhm.
Right?
No, I absolutely agree. And once I made that change where I stopped trying to be salesy, I stopped trying to be thirsty and just say, hey, let me have a conversation with you.
No.
Look, what's your problem? Like, let me listen to you legitimately and what you're struggling with. Obviously, you're coming to me for a solution.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I understand your problem. I can empathize with you. Here's my solution to you. And this is what I think will work for you. Let's work together to get that done.
Yeah.
That whole philosophy flip helped me connect. And again, like you alluded to, is having connection with people. Again, this is a relationship. The same way when you have personal clients,
Yeah.
it's not so much that you're just getting them in here to make a check. You
Yeah.
get them in here, you care about what's important to them, you work to get them to the goals, and there's an authenticity to that. So once I was able to kind of drop back and say, hey, you know what, just chill. You don't need to become up all salesy, and like
Yeah.
try just be real with these people, right? Like find out what their problems are, connect with them, and then offer them a solution. And once I was able to do that, I was able to close more of the deals and more of the calls that I would get on.
Yeah. 100%. So let's kind of talk about that too, about your strategy. So you came in, didn't know what you were doing. Most coaches are going to tell you to post content 24/7, cold DM a bunch of people, run free challenges. What do you think was the biggest contributor to your success from all the different things that we teach compared to all the other things that are out there?
The biggest contributor. Wow, that's a really good question, because I think a lot of that was what I kind of alluded to, was self reflection.
Yep.
But I think from the stuff that we learned, I think about taking immediate action.
Yeah.
Speed wins money. So what I would do when I first started is sometimes I would get a message and I wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily respond to it right away. So I've
Yeah.
gotten a lot better to that. So like if I have somebody reach out to me, getting right into them and getting straight to a call generally leads me to closing deals faster, right? Because they're interested at that moment. If I can get them to a call quickly, I'm able to
Yeah.
close calls faster than I would if I just start going through the DM script or if I start doing this back and forth. Because usually what happens,
Yeah.
you start going back and forth, you get ghosted more. This is my experience. You get ghosted
No,
more,
it's
or the clients
100%. Yeah.
disappear.
Yeah.
So, I think being aggressive in the sense of when you have somebody piqued interest, like getting them on the phone, because I feel more confident in just getting them on the phone, listening to problems, and going through that versus just going back and forth in DMs. So that's really helped me just in the short term.
Yeah.
As far as this stuff, spending more money on ads
Yeah. So
definitely
let's here,
plays a
let's
role.
pause. Okay, so let's talk about, and you're still not spending enough money. So, let's talk about ads. So, when everybody hears ads, they think what? They think huge budget, they think complicated funnels, they think crazy opt-ins, they think these crazy sequences. How long did it take you to set up like one of your first ads?
Oh, well, just to get the ad in place, like setting up an actual, like, what do I film? That took a while. Like, it took me a week to try to figure out. Like, I would overthink it. Obviously, I'm
Yeah.
looking at what, other members of the team are putting out and then kind of just seeing like that. But it took me like a week to finally put like a B roll out there with like, this is my
But the
information.
actual like, okay, so once we figured out what the creative was,
Yeah.
right? How long did it actually take you to set up the ad?
Oh, very quick.
Yeah,
Within an hour or something like that, even
yeah,
less.
yeah.
And then to, go ahead and, start running it. Very short, very simple.
Because I think the problem with a lot of people with ads is everybody thinks again they need to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars a day. Everybody thinks that you need like a landing page and opt in, all this crazy stuff. And you actually brought up a good point earlier is that most people don't want to go through 20 steps. They want to have a conversation with you as quickly as possible. And obviously, you know that from the personal training world, it's like, hey, come in for a consultation. And it's not like, hey, I'm gonna sell, like let's talk now because you're here. Same thing in DMs. It's like we're having a conversation now. Let's just hop on a call and go from there. So, kind of talk me through about your first, I don't know, 30 days of running ads. I mean, how much did you spend? What were we kind of seeing as far as results, leads? Because everybody wants to know numbers.
Yeah, so the first okay, so I started at $20 a day and I ran just a boosted post, and that
Yep.
was the first one I ever ran. And I was running that for 7 days.
Okay.
I got a lot of fluff. Okay,
Yep.
that's just the simple way. Most of the calls, most of the DMs, most of the DMs that I got ended up going nowhere.
Yep.
So I spent a lot of my time just sitting in messages. So that was the first month. Okay,
Yep.
I did get some calls. Most of them end up just falling through. It wasn't until as it relates to ads, where I actually started spending a little bit more money, where I started getting better quality leads. And again,
Yep.
we've talked about this. Meta prioritizes, people that are willing to spend more money, and it's smart. It'll find the
Yep.
clients that are better qualified, if you will. So it wasn't until more recently where
Yep.
I would spend more money, I would get more qualified leads, and I would spend less time trying to filter out the junk or filter out the people that are actually serious. And when people when you to your point earlier spend money, like, okay, I'm operating this business by myself. I don't have any other staff around me. I'm spending about, my ad budget just for a week is about $250
Yep.
right now.
Yep.
And right now I'm closing pretty well. I'm closing about 40% of my calls, which is almost 50-50.
Yep.
Um, but I will tell you, for me personally, it saves me much more time than if I were to run, say, like $20 on a boosted post.
Yep.
And now I got like 15 DMs, and
Yep.
maybe a one or two of them actually end up being worth my time, or at least trying to get a good shot at. So, if I were to give anyone advice, spend a little bit more money. Again, even if you were, like I tell everyone, if you get 4 times ROI, right, or whatever, like 3 times, even 3 times ROI.
Yeah.
If I told you, give me $500 and I'll give you $1,500, right, at the end of the week, you would do it in a heartbeat.
Yep.
So again, being strategic with your money obviously is important, right? You got to make sure you have the money, but again, don't be afraid to spend money because you'll get better qualified leads. In my experience.
Yeah, and it's tough for people because a lot of people have this expectation of I spent $100, I should close a client, and I would love that to happen. But I think the biggest struggle with people when it comes to ads is just not being patient enough. And the analogy I use is like imagine you working with a new client who is struggling with their weight loss journey, and she comes to you because she's not down 10 pounds in week one. It's not that the plan doesn't work. It's just a person isn't being patient. And sometimes it takes a little bit of testing, tweaking,
Mhm.
adjusting to kind of get it right. And to your point earlier about spending more, yeah, for people that don't know, Meta is going to prioritize people that spend more. There's uh, bidding systems that go on within Meta. Even Brett, perfect example. Brett was spending about $50 a day, and when he boosted to like 100, his lead costs went down, and his overall
Mhm.
signing up. So it's just you have to understand, everybody out there, that you're fighting against thousands of other trainers that are running ads. So your $20 doesn't really go far if you're going to go nationally. But let's talk about what we did, because obviously you have the brick and mortar. So let's talk about why we kind of your experience with local, because I know a lot of people would say, Will, why would I run local ads for online coaching? Kind of talk to me about I guess, your experience with that.
Okay, yeah, no problem. And that was actually the first strategy that when we first got in the program, was doing the big fish in little pond. And again,
Yep.
for your reviewers, essentially you want to be the big dog in your area, wherever that is, right? Kind of
Yep.
own that space. And my experience initially was, again, I came to you to be an online fitness coach, but what ended up
Yeah.
happening, at least the first couple of weeks, is as soon as I
Yeah.
tell everyone, hey, my local area, this is what I'm offering, the first thing most people say is, hey, I want to go to in person, in person, in person. We want to train with
Yep.
you, which is the benefit though, is that you'll get a lot of people, at least they'll feel like, hey, this guy lives around the area.
Yep.
There's a relatability around there. It's not just some guy that's like, living in LA and now he's shooting over here to a small town. There's some relatability. So from that perspective, I think the quality of the leads tend to be better,
Yep.
and the small fish, although some of them want to do in person. Again, what
Of
that
course.
allowed me to do, and an indirect benefit is,
Yep.
I could charge more for people that want to work with me directly versus, and also helps my online business because I could say, hey, this is the premium, thing that I do here, but as an alternative, you can still work with me one on one, for a more affordable price here and still get a lot of the same benefits. So it did help me seal some of those ad clients here. That obviously, when they came to me, they might not necessarily be able to afford me one on one in person. But as an
Yep.
alternative, yeah, I'll sign up with your beta program. That sounds pretty good. Obviously, this I'm still offering 90% of the same things. It's
Yep.
just in a more tangible format, and obviously, paid in fulls are a lot better. So, especially
No.
especially with the beta program. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's kind of my experience. So it's helped me in my brick and mortar in person, and it's also helped me kind of get better quality leads doing the small big fish in the small pond.
Awesome. So, you kind of alluded to, just the experience that you were mentioning before we started this interview. Obviously you have some very big goals in place of things that you want to achieve. Kind of talk to me kind of about what are the next steps for you, or where are you envisioning your business going from here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So just in terms of the business in general, eventually I want to kind of leave the in person and
Yep.
transition online, and hopefully grow the online business to a more sustainable path for me. Having steady clients, and I know a lot of that obviously has to do with working to get help and things of that nature. The other aspect that we had talked about, and I had shared with you that I had on the before our onboarding call, was that I have a dream to be a gym owner.
Yep.
So in the horizon for 2025, just going into the future, I'm actually looking to actually open my own facility in 2025. Hopefully one of many going on to the future and actually running my own physical location out here in Southern California.
Awesome, man. And mostly, the thing I think too is that, you alluded to your family, and I think that's really
Mm,
important too earlier, is that, obviously everybody wants to make money, but I think the thing that is really appealing to me that stood out was that you're just doing this, not just for yourself, but be able to provide for your family, right? And, working a 9 to 5 job doesn't really give you a lot more opportunities aside from kind of, what is. But I think it's really cool for somebody like you who literally, I don't know, 69 to 90 days ago, literally had no online coaching business and now has the opportunity to make money online, meeting people that you've never met before, probably never would have met, and be able to do that wherever and be able to provide for your family. So I think that's really awesome that number one, you took that risk, but number two, seeing the fruits of the labor and seeing what you can create from that.
yeah, no, absolutely. And again, I think most people would probably see me as a little crazy. You know, I left what most people would consider a safe job,
Yep.
right? You know that, and that's a big risk in itself. And again, I told you I had that come to Jesus moment where it's like, is this really what I want to do?
Yeah.
And obviously, online coaching and being able to essentially work from your phone,
Yeah.
for lack of a better way to explain it, is the American dream. There's nothing better for me on a personal level than being able to, first of all, be the provider for the family that I wanted to be,
Yeah.
um, and also do something that I enjoy doing and be able to impact people on a greater level than just me meeting them in attendance. Obviously allows me, like you alluded to, being able to reach out to people that I otherwise would never have opportunity to impact or to even meet in general. So that's a big thing for me. Again, this, if anyone is on the fence about this, right? Like I
Yeah.
don't be afraid that the whole thing about this is if you're afraid to take a risk, you'll never grow.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is you have to be willing to take risks, especially on yourself. And I
Yep.
know it could get complicated when you have a family and you have bills. You know, I'm not telling you to just go out there and, you know,
Yeah.
put
Burn the
yourself in
boat.
extreme risk. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, put your mortgage on the line or anything like that. But you know, like if it's within your means, which I think most people it is within their means to do it,
Yep.
you know, gamble on yourself, especially if you truly believe in what you're doing. Um, and again, like for me personally, I'm now becoming the man and the provider that I want to be for my family. And ultimately, I hope that for me, from a leadership perspective, that leaves a legacy that lasts a long time for my family, which is one of the most important things for me.
Oh, man. Yeah. Thank you. So, I mean, I was going to ask you what advice you would give to anybody, but you kind of already answered that for me. So, yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for jumping on today, Michael. Like I said, I really appreciate it. I'm excited to see what happens in the next several months. This is just the beginning and we got a lot of work to do. So, thanks again for jumping on. And if anybody has any questions or would like to book a call with our team, there's going to be a link below. Schedule a call, talk to our team, and see if it makes sense.
What I will say that I think a lot of people don't understand is when they get signed in your program, it's not just you providing the blueprint of how to grow a business to wherever you want to grow, you know, 6, 7 figures. One of the best things that I've got by investing in your program is that it allows me to be in a community with other successful business people. And it gives you access to what they think,
Yeah.
how they run their business. And you can take good parts and you can take bad parts and you can say, hey, I want to apply it to my business. And I don't think a lot of people understand that that's a big part of what you're paying for is access to these other coaches. And
Yep.
a lot of them have helped me out, just indirectly asking them, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And
Yep.
and I think that's one of the most important things that people might overlook.
Yeah. Awesome. I appreciate it, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your day.